Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron. Welcome back to the player ratings. Everton 0, Manchester United 3. Not the result we'd hoped for, not the result we expected either. Certainly not the fairy tale day that we all had hoped for going into this one. Not through the fault of the fans. I thought the Evertonians were absolutely fantastic today, standing up for our football club, proving that we will not sit down, we will not take any form of unjust punishment lightly. We will not accept it because this might be the best season to get 10 points deduction or any other bollocks that anybody wants to say. We will not sit there and be deducted 10 points for something that very clearly doesn't warrant it. The anti-Premier League chants were absolutely perfect. The booing on the anthem was perfect. The pieces of card, it was, I had not a fear or a worry because I knew we'd all stand up and I knew we'd all fight for our football club, but there was a thought in my mind as to what if, not everybody knows about the cards, not everybody is on social media to know where to pick one up, not everybody is aware of this going on. I did have a little feeling that, what if this message hasn't been, communicated to everybody and only communicated to, a few, but that wasn't the case whatsoever. The 1878 group and everybody else involved done an absolutely perfect job of communicating this message to every single Evertonian, whether you're on social media or whether you're not on social media, and every single Evertonian in that stadium had the card. Every single Evertonian in that stadium held that piece of card up at the right times, and we were absolutely fantastic today. The fans were second to none. They stood up against the corrupt, defunct organisation that unfortunately we have to play football in. Trust me, I wish we didn't. I'd rather play in the Championship. I'd rather play in League 2, to be honest with you, than this horrible corrupt league, but there you go, we're in it. And yet the fans were absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, the players didn't match that. I thought it was a really lacklustre performance. Okay, you might look at it and think, well, we had a load of opportunities in the first half that we didn't take, and, on another day, maybe we take those opportunities and win the game. But today very much felt like the game against Luton. It very much felt like the game against Fulham. It very much felt like the game against Wolves. And I don't care if it's offensive to Manchester United because they're Manchester United and they're the biggest club in the world or whatever, or they once won a few Premier League titles a decade ago. They are terrible, and they were absolutely terrible today. And it was another example of a game at Goodison against the poor side that Everton should have won because we had more chances, but we didn't take them. And that for me is incredibly frustrating, especially when you think about how well we'd been performing prior to the international break, prior to the news of the points deduction. We'd been absolutely brilliant, and today felt like a performance from August, September times when we weren't able to put teams away and we were losing games that we shouldn't have been losing. But maybe it was just a one-off. Ultimately, I don't think the players were able to rise to the occasion. I don't think the players were able to rise to the situation. The fans did. The fans turned up. The fans did our bit, but unfortunately, the playing staff and the management didn't. And whilst there may have been effort there, whilst there may have been a bit of fight, I think the quality and ultimately the ability to put the ball in the back of the net wasn't, and that is incredibly disappointing. Anyway, this is the player ratings. I'm going to try and get through all of these as soon as possible because, as you can tell, I am losing my voice. I've screamed at the top of my lungs for the last hour and a half. So if this video goes on for any longer than 20-25 minutes, you mightn't be able to hear me because my voice might just actually get off. So we'll get through these as quick as possible. If you haven't checked out the instant match reaction, please do so. It is up on the channel, and now obviously we go much more in depth into the game of football in that video. As always, the player ratings is brought to you by FanHub. Get down in the description below, top line of the description. Download FanHub, completely free app. You can use the code in the description to get on it straight away. Go and follow us over there at TheMightyBlues. You can predict your starting 11s as well as much more over there. So go and check it out. It also helps the channel massively as well. And if you could subscribe, that would be absolutely brilliant because we are on our way to 8,500 subscribers. Once we've hit that landmark, we're on to 9k, and then we're on to the big 10,000. So if you could hit that subscribe button, go and download FanHub, that would be excellent. Let's get into these then. As you can see, I got 11 out of 11 correct, as well as the super sub. The super sub was to predict the player to come off the bench first. I did, Nathan Patterson. I got the rest of the squad correct as well. I'm not going to take a massive amount of credit because I'm sure, once we all found out Amadou Onana wasn't going to be playing, we pretty much knew what the side would be. So, yeah. Anyway, let's get straight into it. Jordan Pickford. I'm going to give Jordan I'm going to give him a 5.5 today. Do I think he was at fault for any of the goals? Well, he wasn't at fault for the first goal, because it was an absolute worldie, and I don't think any goalkeeper in the Premier League would have saved it. The penalty is a penalty, and ultimately you can't put too much blame on a goalkeeper for a penalty. The third goal is a nice finish by a player that always scores against Everton. So, Anthony Martial will be starting for Manchester United when he's 110 against Everton, because he scores every single time he plays against us. So I don't necessarily think it was a case of, he could have done more for the goals. He could have done better for the goals. I just don't think he was great today. I think his distribution was poor at times. I think there were times in the game when we needed them to, play a good ball up in the air, or a good ball to him, and he put a couple out of play, and that got on the back of the crowd. And yeah, I just don't think he was great today. He didn't have an awful lot to do other than the 3 chances he faced, which ultimately went into the back of the net. So it wasn't like he had, 5 or 6 big saves to make. He didn't really have much to do. Manchester United didn't do much at all other than the 3 goals that went in, and ultimately that's all they needed to do, and they'll be made up because they've won a game of football on the back of that. But yeah, not his best performance in an Everton shirt. Not his most lively performance, but certainly not his best in an Everton shirt. Onto the defence then. Vitaly Mykolenko, I'm going to give him a 6 today. Nowhere near the level that he's been at recently. We've spoken very, very highly of Vitaly Mykolenko on the channel over the last 3, 4, 5 weeks or so. I personally think he's been absolutely brilliant. I think he's been one of Everton's better players in that period of time. But the reality of the situation was he wasn't today. He didn't step up. He wasn't the only one that didn't step up. He wasn't the only one that didn't perform. But yeah, I think he struggled, dealing with Marcus Rashford. I think there were a number of moments in the first half. I think there were a number of moments in the second half where he was in behind far too easily. Marcus Rashford and Vitaly Mykolenko just didn't seem to be able to deal with that. Didn't seem to be able to deal with that over the top ball. Didn't seem to be able to deal with his presence on the wing. So yeah, disappointing for Vitaly. We shouldn't be too down about it, because, as I said, he's been absolutely fantastic recently, and ultimately he should. He should take a lot of confidence from his recent performances, and he should take a lot of a lot of positives from them. But today was definitely one to write off. Jared Brandwaite then. I'm going to give him a 6. I don't think he was great. Do I think he was massively at fault for any of the goals? Well, no, not really. Again, as I said, the first is an absolute worldie. The second is a penalty, which is nothing to do with him. And the third, maybe he could have done more for the third. Who knows? But again, I don't think individually he was terrible today. I just don't think he was very lively. I think he struggled to deal with their forward line. They didn't have much, Manchester United. It's strange this, because we've lost the game 3-0. And, they'll be absolutely made up, and rightly so. Of course, they will. They've just won a game away from home 3-0. They're not used to doing that. They're a terrible football team, so of course they'll be absolutely made up. But the reality of the situation is they didn't have an awful lot in the game. And to come away with a 3-0 defeat doesn't feel like a fair scoreline, but ultimately, you get what you deserve, and we didn't take our opportunities. We had 3 or 4 massive chances that we could have scored, and we'd have been 4-1 up at half time and cruising, but we didn't take those chances. And, as typically happens, they come back to bite us in the arse, and, we have to deal with that. I don't think Jared was a massive issue today, but I don't think he was brilliant either. So, yeah, he's getting a 6. Tarkowski next to him can get a 6 as well. Again, similarly, not massively at fault for an awful lot. Wasn't horrendously terrible today. Wasn't an absolute disgrace by any sense of the imagination, but certainly wasn't a particularly good performance either. He wasn't as dominant as he typically is. He wasn't as strong in the air as he typically is. And yeah, I just think he was a little bit poor, to be honest. I just think he wasn't as demanding as he usually is, and as we're used to seeing him. And I think that was quite evident again. It was a general thing. It wasn't a specific player thing. It wasn't one player didn't turn up, one player did turn up. It was a general thing, and the general outcomes that the players just didn't rise to the occasion. The players ultimately just weren't able to, match the spirit of the fans and match the performance of the fans. And when that's the case, you ultimately don't often come away with a good result. So yeah, it is what it is. Ashley Young at right back, he's getting a 1. Again, I don't care. I don't really care what anybody says. This notion that Ashley Young has been fantastic this season and has been one of our better players is quite frankly laughable. Even when, even in the last 4 or 5 weeks where we've put in some really good performances, and we've won a couple of games of football, even the away wins. He's not been good by any sense of the imagination. He's been all right in those games. He's put himself about. He's not made a horrendous mistake in those games, but he's not been good. This notion that he's been fantastic recently is just wrong. He's just not been as calamitable as he was, at the opening few games of the season. Today, he was back to his typical self. Why he played this game today is beyond me. Playing against his former club, was never going to work out positively. Gives away the penalty. Do I think it was a penalty? No, I don't. And I think it was given because the Premier League have clearly got an agenda against Everton. But that's not the point. To throw your foot out there, knowing the Premier League have got an agenda against us, knowing the Premier League are going to want to do whatever they can, to help in us losing that game of football. To throw your foot in that way is really, really poor. His yellow card was rash and reckless as well. If you're going to do that, if you're going to put the lad 3 foot in the air, then get the ball so you can engage a reaction. There's nothing wrong with flying into a challenge and putting the opposition player 5 foot in the air, but you've got to win the ball when you do it. Otherwise, you look a bit silly and you don't get the reaction that you quite want. And yeah, it's very, very simple for me. Ashley Young should not be starting games of football for Everton. Very, very simple. The reason he starts is because he's got a personal relationship with the manager, and for as much as people love Sean Dyche, and for as much as people adore Dyche and really speak of him highly and want him, and I think he's a brilliant manager, and I think he's one of the best we've had, etc., etc. Everybody's entitled to their own opinions, and that's absolutely fine. But the reality of the situation is, Ashley Young should not be playing for Everton Football Club. Ashley Young should not be starting games for Everton Football Club, and he is because the manager's picking him every week, despite the fact you've got a young Nathan Patterson there, who in my opinion is a much better option, than him. So yeah, whatever, it is what it is. He's not good enough. He shouldn't be playing, and again, I can't really see him given much more than a 1, to be perfectly honest, because yeah, he's poor. Into the midfield then, James Garner is getting a 4. Don't think he was very good today either. Wormy says, how is it not a pen? It's not a case of does he not make yes, he makes contact, and I had this argument a couple of weeks ago after Palace. If that is the case, if the situation is why, if you make contact with the opposition player, then it's a penalty in the box, then that's fine. Why wasn't Dominic Calvert-Lewin given a penalty against Brighton? Why wasn't Dwight McNeil given a penalty against Brighton? I could probably sit here and pick 100 examples out in the last 3 years of Everton not being given penalties when they should have been, if that today is a penalty. But we all know the answer. This league is corrupt as fuck. Richard Masters is corrupt as fuck. So we all know the answer to these questions. Anyway, James Garner, yeah, as I said, not a great performance today. Don't think he was as lively as he usually is. Don't think he was, as about the pitch as he usually is. I just don't think he was very good. Just don't think he rose to the occasion. I think he struggled with the situation. He struggled with the occasion. He struggled with the magnitude of this game of football and what this game of football meant to everybody around the football club. Much like the rest of the players, I think he struggled to deal with that. So yeah, he's getting a 4. Garner Gay getting a 5 again. Not awful, but you can't half tell how much we missed Amadou Onana today. We massively missed Amadou Onana in there. It was quite obvious, wasn't it? So yeah, Garner's getting a 5. Decore 5.5. Worked hard, put himself about, but absolutely nothing came of it. At any point in the game, nothing came of it. Struggled to deal again with the pressure. Struggled to deal again with the situation. Had one shot, one opportunity in the opening sort of 20 minutes of the game that he should have done much better with. He should have guided towards goal, and ultimately he should have got on target, and he didn't. And again, I just don't think he was at the top of his game today. Forward players then, Jack Harrison is getting a 3. I thought he was terrible today. Thought he was absolutely terrible. Yes, he worked hard. Yes, he ran around. Yes, he puts himself about. But his distribution at the moment is horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. And yeah, don't think he was very good. Dwight McNeil, 4. Not much better. Not much better. Thought he worked a bit harder. Thought he was better on the ball. Thought his distribution was a little bit better than Jack's. Thought it was more clinical, but still not great by any sense of the imagination. Still didn't do enough. Still didn't create enough. Still didn't work hard enough. And then Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I'm going to give him a 5 as well. Again, very similar situation. Never really had much to work off. Never really had much to go off. But there was a couple of moments when he had the ball at his feet and he should have done better. There was one where he walked it out of play, which was just really, really poor. He should have done much better in that situation. So, yeah. On to the subs then. Patterson, give him a 6. Come on, worked hard, put himself about, ran around. Danjuma, 3. Didn't do anything, didn't affect the game positively, had the ball a couple of times and wasted it. Chimiti, 3 as well. Actually 3.5 because he had that shot which was unfortunate. Didn't really touch the ball other than that, so not really much to say. And then Dobbin, can't really give Dobbin. Did Dobbin even touch the ball? Did he have control of the ball once? So yeah, you can get a 5 on the basis that he was there, but he didn't do anything with the ball. He didn't have an opportunity because he come on so late. So there you go. They're the player ratings. Let us know your thoughts. Listen, I'll be honest with you all. I am dejected to fuck. I am very close to just thinking, do you know what? What's the point anymore? Let's just walk away. Let me just go and enjoy Spider-Man, enjoy Marvel, enjoy the things in life that bring me genuine happiness and, never really make me angry or make me feel any form of discontent or ill feeling. I'm getting sick of walking home from Goodison Park and, feeling absolutely horrendous about various different things. So, yeah, I'm just going to go away. I'm going to have a nice night, hopefully, with my girlfriend and my baby and just forget about this and hopefully come back with a fresh head tomorrow because I just can't be arsed with it. I'll be honest, I just can't be arsed with it. If you've enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe if you're new. Nice one for watching, and we'll see you later.